Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Ready to go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. How are you, folks? I got a special guest from Indianapolis, Indiana, John Merrill. John, how are you, sir?
Doing great. We've had wonderful weather, and it's race week here in Indianapolis, so it's always an exciting time.
That is, is it the Indy 500, right? I got that's low-hanging fruit, right?
Yeah.
Well, that is awesome. I'm a big F1 guy, but that's really cool stuff. Well, folks, at Investor Fuel, who sponsors this podcast, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted and live the lives they've always dreamed of. So, John, this is my question for you. What was your origin story into real estate? How did you get into real estate? Did you start off in this career, or what put you down this yellow brick road?
Well, people that know me now don't believe this, but I studied accounting in college, and I started my career as a CPA, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And after examining my inner self, I determined I like to not do the same thing over and over, that I like tangible things, and that I like people and I like creative things. So that ended up in real estate. I started in as an accountant at a local developer here that was called Duke Associates, later became a public REIT, which I had a hand in, and then later sold to Prologis. But that's how I got into it.
Okay, so you're a CPA, you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you're thinking, all right, this is not what I thought it was going to be. So what was that first deal like, or what was that first foray into real estate? Was it just by proxy, or tell me about that.
So I worked with a gentleman I had worked with in public accounting, and he had gone to Duke, and so he hired me. I did accounting things at first, filing construction draws, doing what we call a construction loan analysis, which was our development analysis, etc. And then the opportunity came to become an asset manager for a small public REIT that Duke had with Prudential, and Duke was the advisor for. So I did that, and then I just kind of grew from there into more and more expertise.
Okay, so as you're growing in expertise and kind of growing and you're seeing things, so this is kind of, I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall here, but you're seeing things happen, kind of behind the scenes and how real estate works and the numbers, and I guess, whether you look at rents or compounding interest or something, something triggered you to say, oh, okay, I can build a career doing this. Take me back to there. Like, what did you see when you kind of maybe upgraded your career a little bit that said, oh, I get this, and now I know how to do this?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Yeah, great question. So I think I think not to be overly religious, but God puts the path in front of me because I'm not smart enough to see it myself. And so after Duke went public, I had run all the numbers, and I had also had a public company. I was the chief accounting officer and asset manager and et cetera for. So I also was the investor relations person for that smaller entity. And the leadership at Duke, my smaller company, legally purchased their bigger company. Leadership at Duke said, go home, talk to your wife, tell us if you want to come back and be an investor relations person, which is very relationship oriented, or if you want to run our financial underwriting group, which is now not only going to be working on development deals, but acquisition deals. So I went home, I talked to my wife, I decided I was going to do shareholder relations. I came in the morning, they said, you're running financial underwriting. I'm like, well, why did you give me the choice? So, but again, it was best for me because we got organized around how to approve deals, and I was the person that had to write the deal memorandum. I actually invented the system that Duke used for tracking their returns, et cetera. And then I was in the room with the CEO, the CFO, the COO, and the treasurer on discussing every deal that was getting approved or not approved. And it was just me presenting the deal, which was a lot of pressure, but I learned so much. So I did that for a while. And then a guy that worked for me in that group said, I love working with you, but I have another business opportunity. And my friend, I'll just throw out the friend's name because he's one of my best friends now, but I didn't know him then. My friend Andy is looking at this little company called CB Commercial to be an investment sale broker. But if we do this venture together, I'm going with him. And that's what they ended up doing. So I sat there for 3 more months and thought, I don't know, Andy, but it sounds like we have a similar background. And so finally I called and inquired, and they go, yeah, that position's still open. So I went and I interviewed for it, and I had 0 sales experience. But they needed somebody that understood the numbers, I guess. And I thought it would be an hour interview. I was gone for 5 hours. And the next thing I know, they make me an offer, and it's a straight commission deal, although they did help me with transition. I went home, talked to my wife, and I said, I want to do this. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I want to do this. And she said, straight commission? And I said, yeah. And she said, I've worked on straight commission, and you're too nice a guy. Those sharks will eat you alive. I'm not kidding. This is true. And I sometimes tear up when I tell this part, Michael, but here's what she said. And she's in heaven now, okay? But here's what she said. She said, but I love you, and I believe in you, and I will follow you wherever it leads. I never, until she got ill, I never made less than 3-4 times what I had been making. So it worked out.
Yeah. Oh, what a great wife, and not to just to kind
Yes.
of what a great wise saying. It's like, hey, this is what I know, but I know that I'm your wife, and I believe in you, and I think you'll do it anyway. That's pretty cool. That's
No,
pretty
that's
cool.
not what she said. I'm
No, well, yeah, you're right.
I will follow you where it leads.
Where it leads. Well, and you know what? All she was doing there was she was just revowing.
Yeah. That's true.
She was doing a callback to when you're at the altar. It's funny you say that. They're for richer or poorer.
Yep.
And so that's really cool. That's very, very interesting. So you went from I wouldn't say a cushy corporate job. I don't want to say that, but it's different from going to a salary to going, hey, you go kill what you eat here. And,
Right.
And so some people shrink back at that. Some people say, well, I can't go on full commission. And obviously you could if you were making 3 to 4 times what you were making as in that other position. So what was the difference there when you decided you were an entrepreneur? Then what happened next? Or was there a mentor? Was there a there a book? Was there a coach that helped you along the way? What did that look like for you, John?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, so great question. So first of all, I had been making the same amount of money. I knew some other people that had the same background, experience, et cetera, as me. They were making quite a bit more money than I was. I was getting bonus on how the company did, not on how I did. And I had done some things that really, I thought, added substantial amount of money or value to the company. And so I actually left in 96 after Duke had got in January of 96 after Duke had gone public in 93. So I was only in the chair of running their financial underwriting for about 2 years. And when I went to leave, everybody goes, why would you be leaving that growing dynamic company? And by the way, the guy that replaced me is younger than me and retired and doing very well. So maybe I shouldn't have. But anyway, my answer was, I want a closer relationship between what I do and what I earn. And I'm not going to tell you, you're right. It's not easy. People that don't do it don't understand how difficult that can be. Trust me, I've been on my knees in church praying, please let this deal close so I can pay my mortgage.
Yes. I can identify with that statement.
Yeah.
As a person that I'm a fix and flipper. I'm a wholesaler, signer. I do real estate investing, and there's no salary. It's just go figure it out. And but I've been exactly in that place, on my knees in my closet at church, distracted, not listening to the sermon, just talking to Jesus. So been there, and I think that's and I don't think I would have it any other way.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, so I don't want to overly talk about it. It's been a long time ago that I lost my wife, but I needed something different. I was a little bit burned out. I had achieved most of the things I had foreseen as my goals in investment sales. And opportunity, more of a need came up where I needed somebody to run the Indianapolis office for CBRE. And I'm like bound and determined I'm going to get the right person. So I spent way more time and energy on it than I probably should have. And then finally, a number of people, close friends, said, you're the one with the vision and the passion. You should take that job. So I did. I did it for 5 years. I'm really proud of the job I did. But then I fired myself because I didn't have a vision for the next 5 years, and it didn't fulfill me. I got back to where I needed that challenge, and I guess my ego needed the boost of, eating what I kill.
Well, it's so interesting, though. I think this is the big nugget that people can take away from this is when your vision changes, when you had a specific vision, you had a vision for it, and I think that people can execute in that. It's when you know that if something is ended, do you have the guts to end it? And you obviously did, and know that there's another, there's just another path that, or another vision that the good Lord has for you. So yeah, tell us about that. Tell us about transitioning from that to what you're doing currently, and
Sure.
What are the lessons that you learned and that you can tell our audience?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
So at CBRE, you're either a player or you're a coach, right? So I went from being a player to being a coach. A company that was then called Holiday Fenoglio Fowler, HFF, it's now JLL Capital Markets, had been after me for some time. I have a friend that runs the Charlotte office for them and another friend that runs the Denver office for them. And they're like, you need to come over here and you can be both a player and a coach. So I did that. And for one, I didn't realize how rusty I was at playing after 5 years of coaching. And anyway, I did that and I really enjoyed it. And I love the organization nationally, but long story short, I had a conflict locally and it was getting in the way of me achieving my goals. So I left and then I learned a lot there. And then I went to a small privately owned minority company. I was the only non-minority in the company, which was actually pretty cool and pretty eye-opening. And the idea was we were going to buy and syndicate deals, and we did our first deal. I started there in January 2019. We closed our first deal by the end of May. Now, that's fast.
That's fast for a syndication. Yep.
That's fast. And that's identifying it, negotiating it, raising the money, everything to close. And that was great. Everything worked just like it was supposed to. But then we couldn't figure out what we wanted to look at next. And everything I dragged in the door was a no. I'm just not feeling it. And I couldn't even really have the discussion of so what's no about it? Let's develop our strategy, etc. So anyway, that began looking more like instead of what I perceived as a partnership, it started to be more of an employer-employee relationship. And again, I knew it was wrong. I came home, my wife, I'm remarried now. I come home and I tell my wife we had a beautiful house on the lake and we had just spent $100,000 remodeling it and it was just gorgeous. And I go, yeah, I'm quitting my job, or I'm thinking about it. And she goes, her eyes got big and said, are you crazy? Like, what the heck? And I said, well, he asked me to come back in on Monday and talk about it. So I will. We'll see if we can square things away. And she started asking me questions and I started answering them. And by the end of the conversation, she says, why in the hell are you going back on Monday?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I will say, my wife, she devised the plan. She had already started a company called Merrill Property Group to flip houses, etc. Right. Played off of our name because I've been in leadership roles in the industry here. And one of my jobs was to recruit. So when you're running a CBRE office, you take every top broker in the market out to breakfast, lunch, dinner, and drinks. And there's nothing more, flattering to people than that. So anyway, we started our own company. I'm affiliated with KW Commercial in January 2020. Obligatory laugh about my bad time.
How about that? Just a couple months later, so much fun.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Yeah. But, we've built a pretty good business now. And like I said, we've syndicated, put together some investments. I want to do more of that. The ones I've done have gone well. All of my investors are retired or semi-retired developers that are smarter than me, but they're the limiteds. They want me to do the work. And I have a great partner that we operate things. And so I love the situation because these people, while they trust me, and they trust my judgment, they wouldn't put their money in a deal that didn't make sense. So
Right.
it reduces risk for all of us.
So your limited partners have been in the business, and so I've heard of syndicators that they have such high trust value. They're like, yeah, whatever the next deal is, but you're actually leveraging their expertise and saying, hey, we're going to buy this industrial complex in ABC City and take a look at the specs and get some feedback before you execute.
80% of our investors, maybe even 90%, have either they own a construction company, they're investment brokers, they're developers themselves, and real estate attorneys. And so a lot of different expertise, and a lot of people told me I should start a fund and this, that, and the other, but I don't want to do that. I want each project to stand on its own, and people be able to invest in what makes sense for them at the time that they're making the decision to invest, et cetera.
Yeah.
So.
But you have high trust though, and the folks have high trust in you because you've done multiple deals with them as well.
Yeah, and I've known all of them for a really, really long time, and so. And by the way, that was one of my criteria. It was by design. Things can go wrong.
Right.
And when things go wrong, I want investors that look at me and go, okay, we didn't see this coming. Let's roll up our sleeves and figure out the best
and
route.
Get to work. Yeah.
I don't want people going, hey, you took my money and you lost it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I totally understand that. One thing I was talking to, I just had a call, a podcast recently with somebody that does similar to you, but one thing that she does with her investors, she does syndications, have high trust value, but she also, when they don't have deals going, she has a debt fund, and they fund fix and flippers. And I thought it was a wonderful way to keep the capital money flowing. The rate of return they were given her syndicates was between 7 and 10%, but she was, she's lending it out at 2 points between 11 and 13%. And it was a win-win for her folks and a win-win for her while she was waiting on the next deal and things like that. So
I just want a great model. I've actually looked at trying to do that for hard money lending for commercial deals, actually.
Yeah.
But I've gotten busy with other things. It hasn't happened.
I know. So it was funny because this is what she said. She goes, I was doing all this other real estate stuff. I was landlord, all this stuff. And then I just found the easy button with this lending. It is super easy because, again, and she's somebody that sees the deal, looks at the deal, and can tell if the ranges are good, and the borrower, and all those other things, and she can make a decision pretty quickly because, again, it's not her first rodeo. And then your first rodeo is your commercial. You know what a deal is. Probably within 10 minutes of looking at it, probably shorter than that. Yeah. But yeah, but that's interesting. That's a great place to be in the career. It's always interesting to me, real estate investors or people in the real estate community. The end goal is not necessarily to be the lender, but it seems like that's where people end up. Yeah. That's their happiest and they're in the easiest jam to be in. So
it's the least risky position if you do it right. So you get to sleep better at night. That's for sure.
Yes, you don't get tenants texting you at 6 a.m. that there's a leak in the roof, which is pretty cool. So that's awesome. So John, what else do you do for fun? What does family look like today with you? What's a little bit about you that's not real estate related?
Yeah, so my wife told me I needed hobbies because I don't have very many, quite frankly. And I used to run a lot. I've kind of gotten away from doing that. And so I collect vintage stereo equipment.
Okay. Tell me about this.
I came across that because a guy I knew was ex-professional football player, and he owns 1,000 McDonald's now. And he's like, I collect cars that I couldn't afford when I was a teenager. I'm like, that's pretty cool, but I can't afford that. But I can afford vintage stereo equipment at $200 or $300 a pop. So yeah, that's what I do. And then that same wife, and I love her so much, but she's kind of like, you have 22 pieces of extra stereo equipment in the garage. And I go, yeah, I know. And most collectors have 400. So
right.
He wasn't buying or getting that. So she's got me to I've pretty well thinned the herd to the things that I really, really appreciate. I got a couple of future goals out there of things I might try, but it's not. It's the thing is, like I'm playing equipment that was designed and built in the '70s. It sounds so incredibly good. So
Right. And these are
but I
playing
still play through Bluetooth.
what's that? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're playing you're playing vinyls and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
In
we
fact,
actually have it.
I actually have a tube amplifier behind me. You see that right
There
over
you
my
go.
shoulder?
Yeah, I do see that. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. You even got the Office has it as well. We
Yeah.
have I live in Memphis, and we have a guy in Bartlett that owns a vinyl record maker, and so he just started doing this 11 years ago, and then when vinyl made a comeback, people were musicians were wanting to put their albums back on vinyl, and so it's become a big thing.
It has.
And he's done really, really well. He opened in one office, and then he bought an industrial park to help him make these records and distribute. So it's interesting because people are doing the same thing, because it's not just you out there that wants to play, Coca Cabana on the
Yeah. The
on the
other thing,
record player.
my wife, we own it, but it's her thing. I tell people my wife has a Class A RV and she lets me ride in it. So we try to travel some that way. And every year, for example, we go out to Red Rocks in the Denver area and catch a concert. We try to do that a fair amount too. So music's a big part of my life. I can't play a lick, but I love it.
All right. So who do you like to see? Who are your top three venues that you like to see? Not venues, but artists.
Okay, so I'm a big Leonard Skinner fan, which
Right.
Southern rock. Of course, none of them are alive except for the one drummer who I got to meet and hear him tell stories, which was unbelievable. And besides that, Hart, Tom Petty, just classic rock. So
Yeah, classic rock is good. My son is getting married.
And too, I almost left that one out. So
What's that? Who's that?
John Fogerty, yeah.
John Fogerty. My son's getting married on Saturday, and his fiance, I got to meet her grandfather, and so I got to meet him when they got married, they got engaged, and I got to meet him for the first time, and I recognized him. I was like, I know this guy from somewhere, and he's the drummer for Hank Williams Jr.
Oh wow!
So and he was also the drummer for Survivor and a couple other folks,
Okay.
and I was like, man, let's get out here and let's talk about music. So that was pretty fun, and so he'll be playing at the wedding, so it'll be pretty cool.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. All right. So, John, where can people find more about you and about your syndications and everything about you on the internet? Where can people find you, John?
Yeah, I've got a website, merrillpropertygroup.com. It's mostly about our brokerage business, and if I'm being honest, it's not the best website. I need to work on it, but that's where there's more information about me. And then, I used to make the joke, go to the post office and look at the posters, but nobody knows what that means anymore. But anyway, I'd say the easiest thing is just our company website.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, John, thank you for being a part of the Real Estate Pros podcast. Really enjoyed hearing your story. Folks, if you want to know more about John Merrill, there'll be some information in the show notes below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.